Hello and welcome to my video on Transformers Cybertron Optimus Prime. Now here he is, big angry red fire truck. And yeah, definitely very stylistic Cybertronian fire truck. But taking a look at it, he is very hefty, I have to admit. He's got a nice chunk to him. And we have a lot of nice details too. In the front we have his hands showing, but that's okay. And we have silver on the back here. This giant block that kind of reminds me of the back of the trailer for Armada Optimus Prime. And we got more silver and silver everywhere. Nice, really well painted figure. Now, quick little story. This figure is one I've just gotten, and I've wanted it for quite a while. Wasn't on the top of my list with one of the figures I wanted, but I still wanted one. And I just went to a toy convention, and I was talking to this one guy in the venue, and he was like, yeah, I saw this Cybertron Prime just over, and I'm like, I wonder if it's still there. And I go look over there, and he's sitting right there, and he was $80. I negotiated him down to get $60, and yeah, now it's mine. And oh boy, is this guy pretty cool. Now I will mention I am missing one thing, which is one of the missiles. He comes with 3 missiles, one for this cannon, and one for 2 other cannons are hidden behind there. I just have the 2 missiles in there instead of one in here and one back there. All 3 missiles are the same. And I do have his Cyberplanet key. So we can do a bunch of different stuff. First of all, we can bring this in, and that will open this up. And there is a button right here that would make lights and sounds, but it's corroded. I did test it. It did work somehow. I don't know how that works, but I definitely don't want to leave batteries in there with corrosion. I just don't want it to get any worse and possibly not work. I tested it. It worked. I can say it works. That's great. And then on this side, if we plug in the Cyberplanet key, these little side parts pop out on both sides, and those can be fired like so. So you have some more playability right there. And of course, you can take out this gun here, and there's a little tab where you can fire guns, but I'll show that off later. Now, obviously, there is other Cybertron Optimus Primes out there, but I say this is the best one. The new one is just too much of an Ultra Magnus. It's not fully a Cybertron Optimus Prime, hence why I think it's called Galaxy Upgrade Prime or something. And then we have the new Commander of the Stars that came out that is just got so many QC issues. And if you really want a Cybertron Optimus Prime, get the original. It is definitely still pretty good. And yeah, he's hefty. Great for when he came out. He does have a head right here that's very visible. But that's okay. I wish they would have made a panel that would fold up over or something. But what you gonna do? Not a big deal. And this guy also has a lot of wheels. But we will take this whole section off here. Oh, before we do that, I just want to mention he does have a flying truck mode. A flying Cybertron fire truck. Yeah, that sounds a little off. Or not off, but weird. But it's pretty freaking cool. So what we're going to do is we're simply just going to bring these out. Fold them down. Come to the front here. This guy gets ginormous. And bring forward the guns. Just like that. And now he has, get this in frame, which isn't going to happen. But we have a flying car mode. He's got wings on the sides. So you can kind of bloosh him around and swoosh him. Very swooshable. And of course, we can take out these guns too, if you want, for some extra added firepower. Now, we will take a look at Prime without any of this stuff. And we come down to here. And the cool thing about this guy, too, I'll just get this out of the way, is I know the RAD one had this kind of thing and had the parts that come onto it, but you couldn't really do much with the Solo thing. Like the Solo Prime, it was just a little cab that would rock back and forth. But Optimus Prime from Cybertron, he can roll, and he looks just fine without it. And he's got a suspension on his wheel, which is for the super mode. So for when it's standing, it just retracts under the weight. It works okay. The spring's a little too strong, which is something you never really say very often, but I would have liked the spring to be a little bit not as strong. This one is a little bit better. It's a little weaker. So, but still has suspension on the back, which is super cool, super fun. No steering, nothing that crazy. Although I did get a alternator's tracks, which I will be reviewing very shortly. And that also reveals some detail when you take this off of the knees right here and the back of the bed of the truck. Just some light looking things painted in a metallic orange and some silver. But that's basically it for this guy in his vehicle mode. Now I'm going to raise the camera up because this guy gets super tall and he's super big. Transform him. All we're going to do here is bring this down. And then we're going to come to the legs here. And we are going to rotate these back. Now, there is a little thing that separates. Right here, you can see how it separates there. And it kind of bends. There's a little spring that brings it in, which is pretty cool. Which makes it feel super solid and super nice to do. But it can be a little tricky, especially if you're not doing it right. It can be a little challenging to get that up and nice and tidy. Then we can split the legs, and we can bring down this, which will open up the chest, but I will show that off just a little bit later here. So there he is, standing up. Now we can take these arms right here. Let me just adjust my camera, I bumped it a little bit. These kind of bring out on a double hinge, and we can bring these arms down just to get them out of the way. And this will plug right into here. And this is where Leo Convoy, I think is his name, would plug in. And you'd have another arm, which I do not have. I don't know if I'm going to get him ever. If an opportunity pops up and I get him, then whippy. And I'll probably review it if I ever get one. Or I think a Silverbolt. I think a Silverbolt. There's I don't remember the other guy that combined with him exactly, but I think it's Silverbolt. I will review that if I ever get the chance to. And then come to the back, bring up the head, and there we go. There is Prime in his robot mode. Now, he has no accessories unless you bring this in and simply just unplug his gun here. And I will get out a missile. Now he's got a missile from the other cannons, and we can just plug that right in. And now we have a little shoot, and of course it can spring forward, which it's getting locked up right now. Yeah, it doesn't want to fire for some reason. There we go. A little stuck, but that is okay because this is like almost a 20-year-old toy at this point. Now, put it in his hand. You want to just slide it in at an angle and then wrap it around. There's a little peg right there that will snap or plug right into his hand. And we can close that up. And now he's a little pistol, which he can just shoot everywhere. Pow pow, bang bang, kabaloosh. And yeah, there he is with his little gun. And he looks super cool. Now for articulation with this guy, you have a full 360 at the arm. You can bring the shoulder pad out and then bring his arm out a pretty pathetic amount. We have a nice 90-degree ratchet bend at the elbow, swivel at the bicep, nothing at the wrist, but we do have articulated fingers Let me just show you on this hand. Boop, boop. No articulated index finger by itself, but you don't really need that. Now, the head, we just have a swivel. And if you swivel it, it can't push down, but if you have it straight in, then it can push down. So I like to have it just off to the side so it doesn't easily push down. It's nice, because otherwise it's a little bit annoying. And then for the legs, we can kick up about 90 degrees for transformation, and about 90 degrees back. And there's these little tires that are in the way where it can only bend out that far, but they engineered it to where the wheels can go out, so you can bring the leg out further. That's super nice attention to detail. Like, even further if you get the arm out of the way. Like, that's just crazy. Especially considering this is such an old figure. And then the leg, you have a 90-degree bend and a thigh swivel. Upper thigh swivel, that. And we have nothing below this. We do have a little bit of a toe pivot, but that does nothing. That's more for transformation. And yeah, there he is. Now, one last thing that is cool with this guy, also works in the combine mode. You bring the skirt panel up, and before you saw how this chest opened up, you can open up these panels, bring this down, and there's a little matrix inside there. Super cool. Now, this matrix is a little hard to remove. Let's see if I can get it out. Can be very challenging. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth, get your two fingers in there, and you give up. There we go, got it. And it's just a nice little matrix. It's nothing too spectacular. It's only got a little bit of paint, a little lackluster. And I don't know how the matrix changed from Armada to Cybertron. How did the matrix change in shape? That makes no sense. Is it a different matrix? Because it's all in the same continuity, so there's always those few things between the shows that are meant to be together that just make no sense, but that is a-okay. Yeah, bring that back up, and we are all done with this guy here. We will bring this back out of his arms, and we will get him ready for super mode. So pretty simple for this guy. All you're gonna do is bring out these feet here, and then bring down the toe, bring out the feet, bring down the toe, and now he's got super boots, and he's a little back heavy because he's got no heels, like at all. And this is where that problem is with those wheels. They kind of spring back up a little bit. You can see it springing, especially this one. It really likes to, which makes it a little hard to stand. But when you have the extra weight of the backpack and the heel, not mean for him to fall there. That was totally on accident. And we have these, which we can just pop out. There's just two mushroom pegs right there and there that plug right into those little black bars. And just simply separate these. You can bring them down or however you like. I just like bringing them down to the side. And then we can plug in the back of these legs, and we just give him a lot more bulk. Now he can stand, but he still doesn't like to stand flat because of that tire. Kind of just pushes him back up. And then for this whole assembly here, all we're going to do is bring these down. Make sure these black bars are facing forward. And if you wanted to, you could bring this up and around and have it over his shoulders. They do show that in the instructions. So there is that. If you want to do it, you can bring these over. But I don't like doing that. I like having them down below like it is in the show. Down below like it is in the show. And then when you do this, so suppose that there's silver that runs along there. And then we can bring these little bars up. And these two sticky outy red bits will go right below here. So bring these arms forward and just get them right in that spot. It'll slide in. And then we can bring down these bars. And there we go. There is Cybertron Optimus Prime in his robot mode. Except we have one last thing to do. And obviously not that plug that in. I forgot to do that. But one last thing to do. That is to flare out those little ears and bring up that mouth plate. Oh yeah. And if you're wondering how I'm doing that mouth plate thing, there is a little tab that sticks out right there that you just push down and then bring it up. You just take it and bring it up. No, it's no longer there, and his mouth is down. So that is how that whole thing works. And there we have it. There is Cybertron Optimus Prime in his super mode. Now, there's not much else you can do with this other than make it look awesome. You can move these cannons forward. They're just on an outwards joint and a swivel. So they can go full 360. There's no added articulation. And you can actually get this to hold in if you bring it up. But it's a little challenging. And I usually don't do it. Because it's just not natural. But if you want to, you can get them to hold that. It's just a little bit of finagling. And that's it. So yeah, he is a big block. That's the best to describe him. Big chunky block that just fits together just right. And is super awesome. Now, there's a few small things like the wheels that make him a little tippy top. But you can just simply bring his legs out like that, and now he's super stable, and he is just fine. Yeah, I've watched Cybertron. I'm not a huge fan of it, but this figure is still really cool looking, and I just had to pick him up. So, that has been it for my review, and see you guys later. Peace out. Now I can push him over. There we go. A little push.